Welcome here today, folks, to another edition of a predictions video for this weekend's race, the Quaker State 400 at Kentucky Speedway. I'm going to break down the picks for your fantasy lineup of drivers you should stay away from, drivers that you should definitely have in your lineup, and possible dark horses for everybody's lineup today. My lineup, I can already tell you guys, it's going to look a little bit different here for these next few weeks, likely going forward, because I have some drivers that of course, you can only use a certain driver up to 10 times. There's guys like Kevin Harvick. I've already used him 9 times. I've used Hamlin 8 times. So I'm probably going to try to stay away from him, except for racetracks that I know for sure, hands down, they're going to perform well at for later in the season. So I'm going to try to save them as much as I can. It's getting down to that point in the season. We got 10 races until the playoffs. Things are heating up, and we're just going to hop right on into it. So first and foremost, drivers you should stay away from today. I've got 2 drivers that you absolutely should stay away from. Do not put them in your fantasy lineup, and that is William Byron and Alex Bowman, both for Hendrick Motorsports. Alex Bowman's best finish is 17th in the 2 races in the 88 car here, including a 39th place finish as well last season. 2 seasons ago. 2 seasons ago, he finished 39th, finished 17th last season. There's no reason why he should. He's had a dip in performance as of late. Of course, had a DNF at Indianapolis last week, although it wasn't his fault. Right front tire blew out going into, I believe it was turn 1 at the time, but still, that team has been dipping in performance. And same thing with William Byron. Not only William Byron has also been dipping in performance lately. He's not looking like William Byron of last season, pretty much since they came back from the COVID break. William Byron has 2 races here under the 24 car, and 2 races total, of course, at Kentucky Speedway, and finishing 18th and 20th. So again, a reason why you should stay away from both those drivers. Have had 0 success here at Kentucky Speedway. No stage points for either one of them in either of those 2 races as well. So yeah, stay away from Willie Byron and Alex Bowman for today. Now let's head on over to the dark horse picks. So my 2 dark horses for today that I'm probably actually going to put in my lineup, as you'll see here in a little bit. But drivers who I think can perform well today. Not absolute locks, but very close to it. Erik Jones is the driver we're going to start off with. He's been dipping in performance with bad luck the last couple weekends, both at Indianapolis and pretty much both races of the doubleheader at Pocono. But the reason why he is a dark horse today is because in 3 career races at Kentucky Speedway, he has a 6th, 7th, and a 3rd place finish. Almost won the race last year, taking a 3 wide down the backstretch before the Kyle and Kurt Busch drama ensued later in that lap. But yeah, Erik Jones was in contention to win last year, finished in 3rd place, like I mentioned. A 7th place finish the year before, and in 2017 when he finished 6th in his first career race there. Remember, that was when he was driving the 77 car for Furniture Row Racing. So that is a completely different car, and he even performed super well that day as well. So that's why Erik Jones will likely be in my lineup here today, and why he is a dark horse pick and a high consideration for every one of you guys. I've only used him twice this year too, so he's probably going to be a definite lock in my lineup because I've only used him twice. I got to start using my dark horses a little bit more. They've been performing well. I'm just not taking my own advice half the time and just going with all these, basically all-stars every week. And that's maybe not the way to go in the long run, but so far it's working out for me. The next dark horse pick is going to be Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch has been outstanding at Kentucky Speedway as of late. In the last 5 races, he's got 4 top 10s, including 1 win last year in 2019 with the very package that they will use tomorrow. For the 550 horsepower package. Had a photo finish with Kyle Busch, his brother, last year. A little bit of pit strategy gave him the win, but he was restarting in 4th, and he would have had another top 5. So of those races, he's also got 3 top 5s in that 5-race stretch as well in the top 10s. So Kurt Busch, I think he's a good dark horse pick for tomorrow. He's been running consistent this year. As far as average finish goes, he's got the 6th best average finish this season. I think Kurt Busch is a good driver you could have in your lineup as a dark horse pick. Now, my 2 locks for today's race. Martin Truex Jr. is who we're going to start off with. He won this race back in 2017 and 2018, both with both with Furniture Row Racing. He didn't perform as well last season. In fact, last season was the only race in the last 4 races he did not finish in the top 10 with. So that's a little concerning, figuring on the fact that they're running the same package. It is a day race versus a night race. So that might change some factors, but I think statistically you still got to look at drivers like Martin Truex Jr. to perform. He's still a must-have in my lineup. Must-have because he has won this year, and I can't really consider him as a dark horse pick. But I don't see why you can go wrong with him. I still have a decent amount of usages with Martin Truex Jr., so he's definitely a must-have in my lineup. I think he's a must-have in everybody else's lineup. So, yeah, 2 wins and a top 10, not last season, but the 3 years before that. Last season, he just didn't quite get a hold of the package. He wasn't performing as well in mile and a halfs last year with this package, and so far this year, he's got a new crew chief as well. But he's been pretty consistent for the most part since his win at Martinsville. He's been flirting with the top 10 every single week, if not already finishing in the top 10. So we'll see how things will go for tomorrow's race at Kentucky. But I think with his track record here, I think he should be a pretty solid pick for everybody's lineup. This guy, though, hands down, is a must-have in your lineup here today, and that's Kyle Busch. I think he's going to contend for a win. I know people have been saying that the last couple weeks and just hasn't quite worked out the way he has wanted it to. And, of course, another race with no practice or qualifying. He is starting on the pole, so he did draw number 1. He should score a lot of stage points. And let's look at the guy's track record at Kentucky. This is arguably his best track. He's only got 2 wins here since 2011 when Kentucky Speedway came to the Cup Series circuit. So it's only 2 wins in those 9 races, but in those 9 races, he's got 8 top 10s and 7 top 5s, including 3 runner-up finishes on top of those 2 wins. That is a must-have success. Everybody, I don't care how he's doing this year, he's still running consistent. He's just not necessarily scoring a lot of stage points, and that's why he's where he's at in the regular season standings, back in 11th right now. But again, he's on the pole. He'll have the track position at the start of the race. Again, therefore should have a lot of stage points. I don't see why you can't have Kyle Busch in his lineup. That one race that he did not finish in the top 10 in his career, and every single race that has been at Kentucky Speedway in the Cup Series, he finished 12th. So, yeah, must have Kyle Busch, hands down. Now let's take a look at who's in my lineup today. I'm going to take a lot of my own advice. I always do with the must-haves. The dark horses I'm like hit or miss on. I'm definitely going to take both of those dark horse picks today. I think they're pretty solid picks. Plus, again, I haven't used either Kurt Busch or Erik Jones quite a bit. But, yeah, let's see who I have in my... All right, folks, so this is who I am going to have in my lineup here today. There you see 2,987 points. Currently at the top of the leaderboard in the NASCAR Weekly Podcast League coming into this week. 10 races left again on the regular season. In total rank there, 3,100th right now. So you never know. Still got a shot for that 25 grand. But first and foremost, we got to worry about this week. So who are we going to have in the lineup? It's going to change quite a bit from the last 2 weeks. Didn't really make a lot of changes from the first Pocono race to the second, and not a lot of changes from that second Pocono race to Indy, but we are going to make a lot of changes today. First and foremost, we're going to take Brad Keselowski out of the starting lineup, and we are going to put that other must-have that I had, Martin Truex Jr., in the lineup here today. It's been a while since we've used him, but yeah. Aric Almirola, I'm going to stay away from him this week. I think that top 5 streak is going to come to an end. He's only got 2 top 10s here at Kentucky Speedway in the 5 races he's ran here. Granted, 3 of those were with Richard Petty driving that 43 car, and though only 1 top 10, and that was 2 years ago here at Kentucky Speedway. Last year with this package, he finished outside of the top 10, didn't score any stage points. I'm going to stay away from him today, despite the fact he is riding that hot streak. We're going to put that dark horse pick there, Kurt Busch, in the lineup. My other must-have, Kyle Busch, we're going to obviously keep him in the lineup. Even though we only have 3 usages left with him, I think that's just the way to go. So now we are going to take Kevin Harvick out of the lineup. Not only we can't use him once, he just hasn't performed well in his career here at Kentucky compared to a lot of other tracks, especially in the mile and a half. So definitely going to take him out regardless of how many times we can still use him this year. There's way better options. We're going to take Erik Jones as that other dark horse pick. We're going to take Denny Hamlin out of the lineup again this week, as well as Ryan Blaney. Blaney's been slowly dipping in performance as far as his finishes go. Hasn't had the greatest of luck. That's had a lot to do with it over the last couple weeks, both Pocono races and Indy, he finished outside of the top 10. Despite getting a lot of stage points in both Pocono races, he didn't get the finish he well deserved there. And obviously, he ended up wrecking in turn 3 on a restart in Indianapolis last week while trying to fight back from that accident on pit road. He was in the 12th spot at the time of that. So even though he's been running great, going to stay away from him as well. So in place of Denny Hamlin, we're going to go out on the limb here. And I'm going to put 2 rookies in the lineup. I'm going to put Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell. Couple reasons why. One, we haven't used him a lot this year. You see, Reddick, we've only used him once, and I believe that was at Homestead, if I'm not mistaken. And we are going to put Christopher Bell in the lineup as well. So now we got to find Bell. Where's he starting? So Christopher Bell starting back at 34th. He didn't have a good draw, but we are, So Christopher Bell will be in the lineup too. So reason why we have Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell in the lineup. They've both been performing really solidly as of late. A little inconsistent with their finishes. It seems like if they're not getting in an accident, they're finishing in the top 10 or at least competing for it. They both ran well at Indianapolis last week. I think it's going to be a little bit of a track position race. Not quite as much as what you saw at Indianapolis and Pocono the last 3 races. But I think with Kentucky, mainly a one-groove track, the PJ1's going to be pretty worn out with the amount of rubber that's going to be laid down from both the Xfinity races and the truck race. So it's going to turn into probably more of a one-groove track towards the end of the race. Towards the beginning of the race, they're probably going to be able to use a little bit of that PJ1. I think that's going to come into play. So that's where the track position game is going to come in for the most part. And with Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell, I only need to play one. Assuming the other 4 drivers that I expect to run in the top 10 basically all day, score a decent amount of stage points, and get a good finish of Truex, both the Busch brothers, and Erik Jones, that leaves me to have to hope that just one of these 2 rookies, either Christopher Bell or Reddick, or both, that's fine too. Make me make the tough decision, I guess, to run well. We haven't used Bell all season. There was a couple times I put him in the lineup, but I had to put him in the garage. One of which was Pocono a couple weeks ago because he got in an accident early in the race. But, we have used Bell once. Okay, so we have used Bell once. We have used Reddick once. But, yeah, regardless of the fact, I'm just banking on one of those 2 guys to perform well. I think there is a very good chance that at least one, if not both, will contend for top 10 finishes. I think it's a safe way to go. Again, I don't need both of them to do well. I just need one of them to do well. So now we're going to go into my race picks. I'm going to take Kyle Busch here to win stage 1. He's starting on the pole again with the track position. Logano performed well here last season too, so maybe he could be a good shot, but we're going to go with Kyle Busch to win the opening stage, and we're going to stay consistent the rest of the way. I think Kyle Busch will get his first win of the season here at Kentucky today, so I'm going to go with Kyle Busch. And going to stay consistent, having him win any of the stages. He hasn't won a stage this year either, so he needs playoff points. He's going to be hunting hard these last 10 races of the regular season. And that means I think Toyota is going to go to victory lane also. So there we go. That is going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, for this edition of a predictions video for the Kentucky Speedway race tomorrow. Be sure to come back for a post-race analysis after the race tomorrow afternoon. And hit the subscribe button for more daily NASCAR content. We've got more NASCAR Heat live streams as well with the realistic broadcast on top of videos like this. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this one. And comment down below who are your predictions. Who might you have in your fantasy lineup? Who do you have to win at Kentucky? I've got Kyle Busch. We'll see if it'll come true. Been on a little bit of a hot streak. Let's see if we can keep it going. Thanks, everybody.